Welcome! It was so cold in January, or at least we kept on being told that it was. There were countless YouTube videos showing snowstorms in places that allegedly had never had them before. Fox News kept on banging on about how new record low temperatures were being set all over the country. Various blogs and newspaper articles kept on talking about, is this the sign of the beginning of the next ice age? Well, this video is about how cold it actually was in January of 2018. There were lots of reports of snow and ice and record low temperatures. For example, there was pictures of the tidal pool in Washington DC and all frozen over with the Jefferson Memorial in the background. Lots of school closings all around the country. Niagara Falls freezing over. Scary maps with lots of blue all over them. Fish frozen solid in the sea. Blizzards all over the country. Ice storms here, there and everywhere. And even poor old Bernie Sanders was looking cold at some event, and he's from one of the coldest states in the Union. And of course, Cadet Bonespurs came in with his two ha'porth, saying in the East it could be the coldest New Year's Eve on record. It wasn't. Perhaps we could use a little bit of that good old global warming that our country, but no other countries, was going to pay trillions of dollars to protect against. It wasn't. So bundle up. Doesn't help. But how cold was it really? NOAA's just come out with its summary of for January 2018, and it proved to be the 26th warmest January on record, with temperatures slightly above average. We can look at it more from a regional point of view, and you can see indeed the south and the southeast were slightly below normal in temperatures, with a few isolated areas much below average in temperature. But the other 2/3 of the country was above average, with the western half of the country being much above average, and a few areas in Southern California and Arizona setting record highs. From a precipitation point of view, you can see that again the south and the southeast were below average for rainfall and snowfall, and that is typical of the La Nina pattern that we're currently in. Well, let's take a look at the numbers. Here's the summary for January of 2018 from NOAA. These are daily, monthly and all-time record temperatures, both high and low. You can see in the daily records that for over January there were substantially more high temperature records set, that's those circled in red, than low temperatures. In fact, the ratio is something like 3-to-1. Monthly records are much more difficult to set, but in the last 30 days there were 129 high temperature records set versus only 13 lows. That's a ratio of 10-to-1. There were neither any all-time high temperatures or all-time low temperatures set in January. So all those caterwauling on about there being a record cold New Year were completely and utterly wrong. NOAA issues a graph showing the percentage of the country that is very warm or considered very cold. Now, for a number of years, like 40 years, the very warm areas outstrip the very cold areas. In January of 2018, nearly 30% of the country was considered very warm, whereas 0% of the country was considered very cold. If there are far more high temperature records set than low temperature records, why did we get so much snow in places like Pennsylvania, New York and Michigan? Well, it's the Great Lakes. At the moment, even after all this cold weather, only 43% of the lakes are covered with ice. That means there's a lot of warm water that is evaporating more moisture into the air, and as these cold winds come in from the west, they pick up that moisture. And the less of the lake that is frozen, the more fetch the wind has across those lakes and more opportunity to pick up that moisture. So these moisture-laden clouds, when they reach the eastern side of the lakes and higher ground, drop that moisture as snow. So paradoxically, when it's warmer, you get more precipitation as snow than when it's very cold, because the lakes, when they are frozen over, evaporate no moisture into those cold winds. My videos are generally rather scientific, so let's get a bit technical. Let's forget about pictures of puppies playing in the snow. Forget about abandoned cars in snowdrifts and ice storms all over the country. This all comes down to a highly technical meteorological term: winter. So if you see somebody posting a silly video showing snow and saying, oh dear, where is global warming? Or I'm a bit cold at the moment, where is global warming, when you need it? Then please post a link to this video and tell them they're talking nonsense. Until next time, goodbye.